All right, so I don't know which one to start first. Let's start off with happy birthday to Yu-chan. First person to take a guess at her age.
31. Nervous talking about that.
Oh, really? Anyone else 31?
Martha.
More? Oh, okay. And then we have.
Right behind you guys.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I'm in the 30s club too. So
Are you?
yeah.
Late 30s,
What?
Dan.
I'm
Late 30s.
not in my 40s
You're
yet.
30, right, Dan?
Yeah.
You're 30.
Uh-huh.
I
And
turned
you're
30.
30?
No, I'm 29.
Oh,
I'll be 30.
Yeah.
Still there.
Yeah, older sister.
So yeah. Four members in the 30 club. And then the huge announcement too. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have known by now. But Sylvia passed her test yesterday.
I was like, she didn't pass because she didn't text you, Dan.
They were all saying
I took almost like the full 2 hours that they give you. But yeah, barely, like 60% on the dot.
And then I saw on the
On the dot.
On the
at
dot.
home, and I was like, oh, she did pass.
Oh yeah. And then you
Yeah.
put a comment for us. Thank you for that. But yeah, 60%. So that's exactly what you needed.
Yeah.
As long as you pass.
And your license now.
As long as I pass.
But I kind of knew though, because Kathy was giving me like I was like kind of like asking her questions.
Dan was already saying that you weren't passing, and I'm like, Dan, you can't be.
Dan, really?
Like, Dan, you can't
No.
be so negative. And he's like, well, I'm just reading off of you, and I'm like, you don't know anything right now. Like, I'm
know,
not showing
you can't
anything.
No, I
And
said
he
that
was just like, I don't know.
I said that
He
to-
said that to try to get things off you.
Exactly.
I know, but that doesn't work on me,
And I
so.
did. No, I know.
No.
He said he realized that she did pass.
No,
Because you're like, oh, you never know.
Yeah.
I was like,
I know, she
"Oh," I was
did say
like,
He's like, oh, that means that she did pass.
Yeah.
He was like, no, I didn't say nothing.
Doesn't work.
Yep, I'm a poker player, so that's how it reads. All right, so yeah, a lot of things to be happy about. So congratulations, I guess, to Sylvia. We're really excited about her future here, and we're growing our agency. We're going in the right direction. You know, we need more help to accomplish things because it takes a team to be able to do great things. We can't do everything individually, so being a part of a strong team is really one of the things that I want to differentiate about our agency compared to like other places, that we have a team full of strong individuals that are all focused on our goals. So yeah, just another person that's starting her journey. This is just the beginning too. So officially welcome to being a licensed club. All right, so let's get started in this book review here. Who wants to go first? Okay. Yeah, why not? So you guys don't fight about it, you know?
I like 156, the first paragraph, the last sentence. It says, become a master of the clock, not a slave to it. And then I like the next page, 158 in the bottom. If you aren't where you want to be in life, you gotta work every minute and snatch up every opportunity. You owe it to yourself, your family, and your future. Make every moment count. So I like this one because, like what it says, you can't like be like just focused all the time. You can't be like, oh, it's almost 5 on maybe, or you know, because you're not gonna get anywhere in life like that. Just letting the time go by. You have to do something about it. So if it's not enough for you to use it as a motivation to be a better you, then do it for someone else, like your family, for example.
That's the last line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good one too, because if you're wasting time, then you're not hurting yourself, but you're hurting other people that kind of like rely on you, right? So it's like, yeah, depend on you. So you're like kind of like overvaluing your pleasure or your laziness over people that are counting on you, depending on you too. Where was that one that says don't be a master to?
So 156
Oh,
on the top,
56.
the last sentence.
Or become a master of the clock, not a slave to it. Okay, that's a good one too. Right, I think some people let the time just dictate everything. Oh, it's, like you said, like, oh, it's because this time I do this. Like they're just like dictating everything. Oh, because I work this many hours, I'm out. Or like because of this time I do this. Like you're just like a slave to like your schedule, kind of. So become a master of the clock, meaning that you have more control over like what you do. So those are two really good points. Okay, great. Thank you, Blanca. What do you got for us, Kalia?
Alright, I'm on page 154. That first paragraph. It's actual line when you tell yourself that you don't have enough time. The fact is you have the same amount of time as everyone else. You just aren't using it efficiently. It's kind of like the same thing, you know. It's just we need to use our time wisely because if you don't, you know, it's just wasting your time. You know.
What are some things open up for everybody? Some honesty time here. Okay. That we waste our time on.
Restroom.
Restroom? we got it.
Sometimes I take a little longer. I want to
Just gotta pinch it off sometimes.
Like TVs, I feel like it's not, you know, using my time.
Uh-huh.
wisely, you know?
Who here thinks they watch too much TV?
There's a good show.
I love it.
Sometimes
Yeah,
I binge
it's
watch
so-
TV like in the weekend.
I know,
okay.
like when I get home,
You know,
Yeah.
the night.
doing other productive stuff, like maybe washing or cooking or. But instead of,
You can multitask.
yeah, but still, it's not the same. You know, when you just focus because you're gonna get distracted.
He was talking about the TV on this one, huh? A little bit. Anyone else want to be honest here? Anything else that's kind of like
Phone, being on your phone.
a phone? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
sometimes like not like I think being on your phone is being productive at some point depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
But when it gets to the point where you're just going from one thing to another and it,
Mhm.
like there's no productivity in it, I find myself doing that a lot sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's funny when you start going on the phone and you're like trying to look up something interesting or productive, or and then you start going into like all of a sudden like 2 hours later it's like it's like completely different. Like how'd you get to that? It's funny how you get there. Okay, but yeah. So everybody, it's a good opportunity to kind of like self audit yourself and see what you're spending your time on. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, Jazz, what you got?
I have the same one as Kalia, but
Okay. What's your
I
take on
also
it?
see another. I have another one on page 155 in the bottom. It's kind of long. It's just like samples because he gave a lot. How much time are you wasting? Starting today, I wanted to take a look at how much time you waste in a day. Every time you find yourself doing something that is not productive, make notes of it. Smoking, taking coffee breaks, standing in line, calling friends or family gossiping. I do that a lot. And standing around the water cooler, discussing the game, going to bars, doodling or something, daydreaming, avoiding work, etc. Other. Write it down and become aware of all the things you're doing that don't add up, moving your team and your company down the field. What if you only had 1 hour to win the game? You can't take a break when you've got to work the ball down the field. You have only three 1-minute
Timeouts.
You're on the clock. When the buzzer rings, the game is over. So that kind of just makes you think, wow, if I actually do write it down, I did take a couple breaks, and then like it makes you think if you only had like certain amount to win the game, how would you do it? What would you do? So like, I mean, I like that one. I don't know. I just like the chapter, the little piece.
Yeah, I like it when things are related to sports a lot because I could really understand it better too. But what's like similar to a game for us? So, yeah. Well, you know how the game ends at a buzzer. So what's like when our buzzer is?
At the end of the month.
End of the month, okay. Or we could even say end of the day too.
Because you want to make sure you make those 8 hours that you're here productive.
Exactly.
So when you leave, you got things done. And
Exactly.
You're making your whole month productive as well.
Right. And the next level is what you do after you get home. But let's just stick with the
With the 8 hours.
with the 8 hours. Okay, let's just start there because once you get home, there's gonna be time to relax.
That's
Right.
our time.
Yeah, that's your time. So when an athlete is in a game, in a basketball game, they're not thinking, oh, let me just relax now. They're thinking like, I'm just gonna relax after I get home. They're not thinking, oh, I'm kind of like not really feeling it. Let me just relax right now. So at work, I think that makes sense too. So when you're at work, you want to kind of maximize your time and be as productive as possible because you can relax all you want after work.
Yeah.
So when people are relaxing at work and then they go home, they rush to go home and then relax again. It's like, when are you actually going to have time to be productive? It's that 8 hours of the game. It's like the game is how much you get done in those 8 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, Laura, thank you. So you're next.
It's on 156.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in the middle of like one of the big paragraphs that says, you need to work your sales career the way a politician works his campaign. He doesn't keep talking to the people who are already going to vote for him. He goes and talks to the people who haven't yet decided who to vote for. So I like that because it's kind of like follow up in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, because there's people that call and they're still shopping, so you follow up. They still haven't made up their mind about who they're going with, or you know. So
Yeah.
I think it's like a higher chance or opportunity for you to get a sale if you actually follow up.
Yeah. You're a big believer in following up. And you've proven that. Yeah, you just need to, this is a tough part, right? The launch opportunity. Okay, this is a whole nother level here. This is a lot for people who have like big things to sell. But sometimes, what do you guys think about that? Where he was like, try to spend more time with people who could buy from you, not people who you can't sell to.
I think with us, it's different. We're in a different market.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was like something where you actually market outside of the office, then yeah, it would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But since we don't market outside of the office,
Mm-hmm.
like
And you guys get,
we get
leads to here.
So it's different.
Mm-hmm. A lot of sales jobs, you have to create your own leads. So that in that fact, it's time is even more valuable when you have to do the marketing yourself. But I think there is some truth in the fact that when you're making connections and things like that. For example, we talked about DM people and stuff like that in the last meeting. It is kind of a good idea to try to make connections with people who can buy from you, not from people who you have absolutely no chance of doing any business with. Okay, so yeah, so that's what. So trying to make connections, not just lunch, and probably not lunch, but other connections with people you can sell to. That's a good use of your time, because you're prospecting. Okay, so even though you guys did get leads here, again we talked about the power base, right? So I think that's a great line of trying to go back to your power base again, and trying to talk to people you can sell to. Okay, all right, thank you. Next, Kathy.
Mine's page 156. It's the third, close to the bottom paragraph. It's that little sentence where it says, my rule is if they work with me, they won't buy from me, and so that excludes them from spending lunch with me. Kind of reminded me of when I used to work at the other farmer's office. Probably like almost all my family that's here are with farmers now, and that's because I made them, come here. But now that, they're with us, I kind of don't talk to them about like, hey, you should switch over. Whenever I go to parties, I go with like other family members that I haven't talked to or spoke to, and I sit with them and I tell them like, oh, this is where I work, and then I try to persuade them to like come to us. So, I mean, it kind of reminded me of that, because kind of move on from the people that you already like, won over, and go on to the next group. So that could be like outside or even family. Things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very similar to Laura's line, right above that, right? So yeah, spend more time with people who you could sell to. Okay, prospecting, it's a big part of sales. All right. Thanks, Kathy. Okay, Silvio, what you got for us?
I'm the same like Blanca on page 158, that bottom paragraph. So I picked in the beginning of the chapter, the little second paragraph where it says, when people tell me they don't have time to do what they need to get done, I don't believe it. That's just like a reassurance, you do have more than enough time. It's just that whatever you're looking at is not your top priority. So yeah, just like a reminder, everybody said all the good ones. But yeah, not really tricking yourself into thinking that you don't have enough time when you actually do. It's just you have your priorities aren't, I guess they're not set how you want them to be, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite lines too. When people tell me they don't have enough time to do what they need to get done, I don't believe it. Because life is just, let's face it, it's not fair. And some people are in different situations. Parents were different. Where they grew up is different. It's like there's so many unfairness in life. But the one thing that is very fair, I feel like, is that everybody has the same amount of time. You get like everybody has 24 hours. So in that, there's so many unfairness, but that at least is fair. So it's up to each person to do what they want to do within those 24 hours that determines, what their improvement in life is going to be. So sometimes I'll talk to an agent. They're like, oh, I don't have time to do social media. I don't have time to take videos. And then like their next subject is like, oh, have you seen the Game of Thrones? I'm like, you're saying you don't have time, but you're like seeing like every single like thing on HBO, Netflix. It's like they're up to date on everything, and they're saying that they don't have time. I'm like, well, it's just a matter of just prioritizing, like you said, what's important. So that I don't have time excuse is a really bad one for almost any. It's the most common excuse, but I think it's one of the worst excuses because it just means, people are just being lazy. All right, Allie.
Mine was right above what Sylvia said. The most powerful man in the world has 24 hours in a day to get done what he needs to get done. The richest man in the world has 3,600 minutes in a day to earn his money. The most educated man in the world has 168 hours in a week to learn. The greatest athlete in the world has 365 days in a year to train. How much time do you have? It just goes back to what you were just saying, how it's true, like we all have the same time, to do something.
So what's important?
To get it done.
Yeah. What you spend it on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was a question in here that was at the end of the book that was good. Write down 2 activities that make you the most money. What would you guys say? What are the 2 activities? Write down 2 activities that make you the most money. And how much time do you spend on them each week?
Making calls.
Making calls?
Calling the leads.
Calling the leads. Great.
Prospecting, making the sales.
Making the sale.
Prospecting and sales.
Following up.
Following up, okay. How much time do you guys spend on that?
Well, it depends. Calling the leads could be like 20 minutes, because sometimes the client's talking a lot.
But sometimes they don't even pick up, so
Yeah,
sometimes
so
it's
that
like.
one's gonna be 10 minutes, because I could just call them and they never call back.
Mm-hmm.
Following up could be 20, 30 minutes, depending if we don't have not really, like it's not busy, we can just follow up from last month. 30 minutes.
Okay. That's why I look at the phone. I really take a quick look at the phone hours and phone numbers of calls and numbers of hours people are making on the stats I have every month, because at least those are the people really trying, And when you're on the phone for a long time, that's a good sign too. So I feel like they're using their time very wisely, or at least they're trying, So the stats, the sales is like the results, right? But the hours and the phone calls, those are effort. Okay, and then I know there's emails and stuff like that. Those are very important too. So that it's not the whole picture, but it's a big part of the picture. So keep an eye on that number there. How many phone calls you're making, how many hours are you on the phone, even if you're customer service, those are hours that you're actually working, right? So those are the things that make us money. So, and then what are some things at work that we do that may not be the best use of time?
Out of work?
At work.
Well, at work.
No one's gonna really like say it themselves, but
Check your phone, like check social
yeah,
media.
it's a fine line, because it's you don't want to get burned out, and you don't want to get like,
Your eyes hurt after a
yeah,
while,
you don't want to be
see.
stressed out. Everybody needs a little escape. So it's a balance. You can't just absolutely like not talk to your coworker all day long. That'd be brutal.
You get more tired
Why what?
when you don't know when to talk to.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So have empathy, So there's a line where you don't want to cross though, where you're just wasting time. Yeah, exactly. So efficiently is important, because even after work too, like I need some, time to like just escape too. You know, like I want to watch a basketball game, or like tonight, like the finals. Like I want to watch that, and that actually helps me. I don't think it's a waste of time because it actually helps me because I didn't deprive myself of that. I'm like in a good mood. You know, I got to like enjoy my life a little bit. So it's all about a balance. But I'm not gonna watch the highlights and watch it again on YouTube and then like watch all the commentary and watch all the interviews. Then it could be or play fantasy sports or like now gamble on. It's like it could go. You know. So it is a balance. One thing I am, you know, proud of is I would say like in the weekends, I would tape the game and watch it after the kids go to sleep. Okay, so not just being time efficient at work too, but you know, because I work so much on the weekends, I like to just completely shut myself down and just spend 100% attention on the kids because they're not getting that much time for me during the week, you know. So using your time efficiently in that way too, so that way I'm not like guilty and stuff like at work. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't work that much. So at least I spend a lot of good quality time. So just you know how you use your time, not just about work, but you know fitness too, you know relationship wise too. Like how you spend your time is so valuable, and you know prioritizing it. Because then when I record the games, even though I'm not getting it watching it live, at least I get to skip the commercials. You know, save time there too. So there's a lot of hacks. There's a lot of like things you could do to save time, and use your time efficiently. So. Anybody want to like open up on what they're thinking about?
That's true.
I like to watch live games.
Live games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have like my, I don't know, like I'll be watching TV and I'll just grab my phone and I'll like scroll, and then I see stuff that's posted, so I want to see it before somebody else posted it.
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
When I tape it, I can't go
Yeah,
on
that's
my
what
phone.
I'm saying. So because of that, that's why I like to watch it live because I don't want to find out. And I'm like, oh, they freaking, I don't even want to watch it anymore, you know?
Yeah, once you find out, it ruins it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that has happened to me before.
Yeah, so that's why.
But that's just risky. But that's what I do. But you know, so if people have things they want to do, that's okay. But I just don't want it to be like just totally just like you're just doing whatever you want to do and not getting things done. I think I'm gonna have to make you guys go around the room and confess on something.
That happens here, yeah, in this office. We all work.
Yeah, we're a bunch of good. Yeah.
And then you can tell.
Sometimes
because-
even when you're working too, but sometimes there's faster ways to do the work you're doing too.
Because even now, like we don't get as many voicemails as we used to get.
Yeah, we got the phones covered pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that means everyone's proactive.
Mhm. That's true. How about the what are some time savers? I feel like Martha has really introduced me to chat.
Oh, I do chat
I
too.
like chat too.
I do chat.
It's really
It's
annoying though.
easier.
Yeah, it's easier, but when you're like trying to multitask and you get a call and then like they'll tell you like, oh,
Yeah, they have no
if
patience.
you don't reply
Yeah.
in 2 minutes, like we're not. And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah. I wish they would hang on with you a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I've tried because I totally know what you mean. So sometimes I say, hey, just be patient with me because I got a lot of things going on right now. So I'll give them a heads up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like hold on 1 second, okay? Like I'm gonna call.
Like a second up.
I do that too.
And then certain things it's not efficient.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm just gonna call them. Okay. But efficiency.
Or complicated stuff, like
Mhm.
clients that you're
Yeah.
trying to just fix something for them, I'd rather call.
I think getting paperwork and stressing that in the beginning is also an efficiency thing too. Because if you don't, and then you're spending the rest of your like weeks like trying to like get it back from them, making so many phone calls, and then you get the document back, you're missing one, but you didn't check it. Like just like being efficient is another way of just solving time. So I don't think we have any like big time wasters here. But at the same time, taking a lot of breaks, but you don't need as much. Those things, that kind of things help too. Okay, so let's just audit ourselves. Okay, and then just self-reflect because there are, like this last line says, spend every minute you have, and then after work, just chill. Let's relax. Okay, Yi-chan, what you have for us?
Mine's 56.
Okay.
The first column.
Okay.
Make a decision now that you are controlling time and time is no longer controlling you. I like that part because basically it's like it depends on how you use the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, oh, I have like only this much time, but it's already there. So it depends on how you use it. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of scary to do and says, but
Yeah. What type of decisions that you want to make to control time?
well, it's not about work.
That's okay.
It's fine. But like, because my family lives in Japan, we have a time difference, so like it's sometimes hard to communicate with my family. And like when I talk to my mom, we talk for like almost 2 hours, 3 hours. And like I feel like wasting time, 2 hours, like 3 hours talking to my mom and just sitting there. But instead of doing that, I just talking to my mom, but like I go to work, like I exercise. So like I use like efficiently like time. So I have like same 1 hour, but like doing 2 things.
Oh, okay. So exercising while you're okay.
She's
So,
exercising while she's talking on the phone.
Oh, okay, great.
so I feel like I have more time for both.
That's a great example. That's a great example, and it's not really wasting time at all. Even if you weren't exercising, talking to your mom is very important for your mental well-being. So, but mixing that in with something effective too. Who else does something like that? Anybody else do something like that?
I drive and read. I'm just kidding. No.
The other day I was talking to my mom and I was making myself my lunch for the next day.
Okay, there you go.
I was like cooking and talking to my mom. At the same time.
Oh, my mom does that all the time. She's in calling to Mexico and like cooking and throwing
No,
stuff.
but I have my headpiece on. Like, I
Yeah.
have
Oh
my
no,
headpiece
she
and
actually
I
has
put-
it like this.
and I
I'm
put
like,
my
you're gonna
phone
drop
in
the
my
phone and
pocket,
the chili.
and I'm just like,
I hate Kathy. You're right.
Well, yeah, that's what I do too. I work out and I listen to podcasts. When I'm driving, I listen to podcasts. So I'm kind of sacrificing, music a little bit for that. So it's a little bit of sacrificing there, but I feel like, especially driving, it's a good time to learn new things. So I'm always trying to learn. So those are like another level of taking advantage of every time you have.
And I do that too in the mornings when I'm getting ready. I'll be listening to podcasts because it's kind of like my self-care. So I'm getting ready and listening to podcasts. I don't have to do this
I cook a lot for 2 to 3 days. I cook like a lot to save time for 2 to 3 days.
Oh, okay, ahead of time. So you just focus on it and then you have it ready.
meal prep,
Yeah.
meal prep, yeah.
Good. These are good examples. Great. Thanks for sharing. That. Yeah, those are anything that saves you time, right? Always thinking about your way, how to do things faster, how to get more things done. Because
Moms are pros at that.
yeah, that's so true. Give me an example, Ella.
Like in the morning I shower I put her in the shower and then I'm cleaning up, like making the bed,
Right.
clean the restroom, whatever.
Right. Great. Yeah. I absolutely 100% agree. Moms are incredible at multitasking. And just in general, just being able to do like a lot of things, because being a mom is just not like a one thing. It's so many things going on. So to be able to handle that, that is something that I would have to admit. Okay, Maria.
Mine's on 158, the second paragraph.
Okay.
It says, my wife is an actress here in Hollywood, and I asked her where the best place for people in her business to be seen. She told me that the place to be seen is at the Ivy. Well, guess where we go to lunch now? People remember who they see and forget who they don't see. So it's kind of basically going back to how you say, like, put yourself out there, let people know who you work for, just put it in people's mind, like that they'll get to know you and they'll call you
Yeah.
later on if they need you.
Yeah, great. So we talked about in the which meeting?
I believe it was last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The social media meeting, right?
Yeah.
So that's, sometimes I think when it comes to social media, I'm glad you brought this up, Maria, there's 2 different types of where to use time. One is just consuming everybody else, just watching everybody else. So what is everybody else up to? What are they doing? What's going on? Like, oh, my friend's doing this, my friend's that. The other one is like you putting yourself out there, which is more time, which is better.
Kind of like that. I don't know. I don't remember that chapter, but it's like you're either the buyer or the seller.
Yeah.
When it comes to social media.
Right.
Yeah. Reminds me of that.
So which is better?
Putting yourself out there.
Putting yourself out there, right? Because you could potentially get a sale from there. But you just looking at everybody, there's no sell opportunity there. And obviously you can't put your, but if you're spending a lot of time on social media looking at stuff and you're not saying one little thing about yourself, it's just not a good ratio. So every once in a while, put yourself out there because you're checking out everybody else out. Have people check you out too.
Starting today,
I want you to take a look up how much time do you waste in a day. Every time you find yourself doing something that is not productive, make a note of it. And then I jump to the last sentence where it says, he who makes the most of his time will accomplishes the most. So pretty much I like this because 2 days ago I was realized when I was driving that I was so much time sleeping. And you know, I could take time like having lunch with my husband or with my dogs in the morning, or like relax and come with in time, you know. So what I'm doing now, I have 2 days in a row, waking 1 hour earlier, and I make my breakfast. This morning I ate my breakfast like completely peaceful with my kid, with my dog. So pretty much now I'm trying to, and I did some like yoga.
Oh, great.
In the morning, yeah. So what I'm trying to like is like I want to take my time in the mornings to eat breakfast, be on time and relax in the morning, because I'm always in a rush because I'm always late. I wake up like 30 minutes. I used to wake up 30 minutes, like 'cause I used to time myself. Oh, I have 10 minutes for to wash, you know, to take a bath, and then another 10 minutes to come here. So I used to time myself. And now I want to like, no, I want to relax in the morning and have a time for myself.
Okay, great. But yeah, that's all about, you know, controlling time rather than it controlling you, right? So it sounds like you have more of a better understanding or more control over your mornings.
Managing your time better.
Managing your time better.
Manage my time better.
Sleep is a difficult one to kind of sacrifice because I'm such a big believer in it. But, you know, you want to know yourself. Because sometimes if you sleep too much, you're kind of tired the next day too.
Or you feel lazier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You oversleep.
Yeah, it's good
Well, when you
oversleep.
have a kid, you're not gonna be able to sleep.
Yeah, you gotta take advantage of when you can, right?
Yeah, it's true. So maybe I'm gonna work up 30 minutes before now.
Well, one
I
thing.
think also again the waking up early, because I will go to sleep really early. At 10 I'm already asleep. But the 2 nights not this week, but last week 2 nights I watched a show, and I stayed up till like 2 in the morning watching the show, and I came to work feeling horrible. So now I'm like at 10 o'clock, I look at the time, it's 10, I turn off the TV and I just go to sleep, because I feel like if you don't go to sleep early, I wake up at 6, I come in at 8, but I wake up at 6. And if I don't wake up at 6, I don't get things done. And I feel like going to sleep early, I know for some people it's hard, because I know some people are used to sleeping late. You get so much done in the morning, and you wake up like in a better mood even when you're gonna, you know.
And when you're in a better mood, it
Yeah.
definitely helps you sell, right?
That's another thing that I want to do. I want to go to bed earlier.
Yeah, and that's gonna help you wake up early.
Yeah, you take a full 8 hour sleep then, huh?
Yes, at 10 o'clock I'm already knocked the hell out.
That takes a lot of sacrifice. You know, but the way I look at it, because I'm naturally a night person too, and I've always struggled waking up in the morning. But the way I look at it is like, okay, from like 11 to 12, what am I doing? Whereas if I wake up from 8 or 7, I'm so much more productive waking up early, because the sacrifice I make, the nighttime stuff I'm doing is just not productive. But the morning stuff is so much more productive. You know, so I'm not really making money from 10 to 11. But I am making money from 7 to 8. Like I'm already like doing stuff, like, you know, my mind is working better. So I think that the toughest thing is, first part is waking up early. But once you wake up early, then you're gonna have that whole day where you're a little bit tired, but you're gonna pass out because you're just so tired if you do enough stuff, and then you're gonna get in the routine. So because going to sleep early is kind of hard because you're not tired. You're like, how am I gonna sleep when I'm not tired?
I have a hard time going to sleep. I mean, I still wake up early because I have to, you know. I wake up at 6 o'clock too, because I don't only have to get myself ready, but I have to get Maddie ready. You know, so I have to wake up at 6, and I have to be ready by like 6:30, 6:45 to get her ready. You know, but it's hard. It's always been hard for me to go to sleep. Like last night, I went to sleep like at 12:30.
Oh really?
And just because I just can't, like, I toss and turn.
Mm-hmm.
I toss and turn, and
Yeah,
then,
that's why
like, I literally, like, I even, like, switch my body, like, to sleep, like, the opposite way, like,
Me too.
like, my head, like, my head to, like, where, like, the feet are, you know, the end of my
Yeah,
bed.
yeah. Especially right now
I
that
have-
it's hot.
Yeah, especially right now that it's hot, like, we're sleeping with the AC on, but, I'm very, like, I like to sleep when it's really, really cold.
Mm-hmm.
So now that it gets warmer, like,
Yeah.
I don't wanna crank up the AC and then everybody gets sick,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so.
We open the windows.
No, not because I have the AC on.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the thing is
Don't the
that,
windows help?
yes, no, the other day I left everything open so it can air out and it was so humid, it got even hotter. I was like, oh no.
Well, yeah. Well, with the sleep, yeah, having a pattern, right? Having a clock, internal clock. So at this certain time, okay, what works for me is like, okay, at this time I take a protein shake. At this time I start stretching out. This time, so it's just having like
A routine.
a routine
Because
helps.
I go to sleep because I go to the gym. If I don't go to the gym after when I get out of work,
Mm-hmm.
I get home at 8, I take a shower, and I'm already ready to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So by 10, that's when I'm already knocked out,
Yeah.
you know? But if I didn't go, I'll probably be up later, you know?
Yeah.
Like
No.
watching
Yeah. That's so true.
videos and stuff like
Physical activity does definitely tires your body out.
Mm.
So that's why it's recommended too. Not only because it helps stay in
that.
shape,
That's why I
because
die at 10.
you
I'm
get
like,
you get better and you get better rest too.
yeah, I do.
Mhm.
I sleep good, I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
It's hard to get up sometimes in the morning.
That's why exercise is so good for you. That's one thing that people don't realize, that it helps you sleep. Okay, Marisol, what do you have for us?
That or we.
Okay.
I actually had one that somebody already said too. But I'll do another one. So it's on page 154.
Okay.
It's like the first paragraph. It's actually like when you tell yourself that you don't have enough time. The fact is you have the same amount of time as everyone else. You guys already did this one, huh?
That's okay.
We all
Okay.
hooked it.
It's a great, yeah.
It's because it's so good.
Mhm.
We all have the same 24 hours. Days amount to 8,760 hours a year. If you don't know how much time is available, I assure you that you haven't decided how to use it. If you agree that time is money, then you should inventory and protect your time, just like you would anything that is valuable. I think it's, I like this because it's really true. Like sometimes I find myself doing this a lot. I tell myself like, oh, it's because I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. Like, for example, for exercising, I always thought I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. But I fit it into my schedule now. So there is time. You just have to see what is more important to you.
Mhm.
And I think that's what I have a hard time doing because I want to do so much.
Mhm.
And I have to really sit down and prioritize what's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a key word right there. Sit down and actually prioritize what's
Yeah.
important. Because everything's a trade.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to give away something to do something. But making that priority is a huge one. What podcast do you want to share? Anything that?
I listen to a lot of like influencer podcasts.
Mhm.
Influencer, I listen to there's one that says throw your hands up and say yes, that's the title of it, and that's more about like self-care. I listen to The Creative Brain, so it's just like little stories of entrepreneurs and their journey on how they became successful type thing I listen to.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
I think that's one great use of time these days. One of the things that's great about technology is that we have content that you guys could get exposed to. Like whatever you want to find out about, you can find out about it. Like if you're into something, there's so much information on that one thing now. So what you want to get into, you got to choose really wisely. So I would say positivity, business. I mean, that's maybe not be exactly what you guys like, but positivity, self-belief, how to take care of yourself, health, nutrition. Those are great use of your time, I would say. Some bad use of your time is like just hanging out with negative people, spending time with just getting drunk with, and then complaining and like gossiping and stuff like that. Those are just not the best use of time, right? So let's just, look at ourselves. First of all, start with the 8 hours here. Spend that time as wisely as possible. But, and this is something might sound crazy to you guys, but it is good to invest a little bit of time outside of work for productive things, self-growth things. That's going to help you down the line too. And it's almost like I talked about how a sports player is really focusing on during the game. After the game, yeah, they get rest, but they're also training so they can get ready for the game too. So what you're doing after work, that time does affect what you do at work too. So this could get pretty crazy, you know, since some people could get really, you know, driven and like they spend all their time like, but sometimes, you know, it's a definition of obsession. You know, some people can get really obsessed about their work and money and making money and like taking care of their family and stuff like that. I'm not asking you guys to get obsessed, but audit yourself and look at what time how you're using time, because that is going to determine how successful we are going to be individually.